So in this section, I just want to move now on to taking action. And again, a very important chapter. As I mentioned before, thoughts will determine what you want, but ultimately action determines what you get. So this is again a very important chapter, and it requires for you to take massive and consistent action. Now, before we get into the gist of developing an action plan, I want to just cover something. I want to actually debunk the myth of having no time. I thought it would be a good idea to do this small exercise for you, as many of you probably have an objection, and that objection is that you don't have enough time in your life to actually fit your goals. And that is one of the when I do a bit of coaching with some of my clients, they say that, look, I don't have a lot of time. Now, once you have completed this exercise from the workbook, hopefully you'll get an idea of how much time you actually have. So just turn to the workbook that's entitled Taking Action under Debunking the Myth of Having No Time, and I'll just show you. That's the worksheet that I'm talking about over there. So there's a little exercise for you to do here. So to help you along, I have created a small example for you, which we will go through now. Okay. So how many hours in a week? That's 168 hours. So it's 24 times 7. 24-hour days times 7. Okay. On average, you probably spend about 40 hours a week at work. Now, some of you, it may be more, it may be less. And then hours of sleeping. Now, what I've done here is I've just estimated that you probably sleep maybe 7 to 8 hours a day, and that's for 7 days. So that's about 56 hours. So how many hours do you then have left in the week? And that is 72 hours. So how I arrived at that is 168 minus 40 minus 56. So it's about 72 hours left. Now, let's take into account your traveling time. So let's say you take about an hour or so, or 2 hours a day getting to work. Let's say you spend about 7 hours of 7 hours on the road in travel. And then there's these ad hoc hours that you spend. So let's say it's about 2 hours a day for 7 days. That's about 14 hours. So those ad hoc hours could be anything from daily chores to picking up your kids from school or whatever the case would be. Okay. Now the remaining hours that you then have is 51 hours that are left in a week. So 51 hours during the week. Now, when you multiply that, that'll be about 2,652 hours in a year. So how did I arrive at that? It's 51 hours during the week. There's 52 weeks on average in a year. So that's 2,652 hours in a year, which is approximately 110 days in a year. And these are 24-hour days. Now, do you still think that you have no time after this? Just think about it. If we go back to the worksheet, if you fill out all these little spaces and calculate the number of hours that you're actually spending doing each task, you will arrive at a pretty much significant figure. And I hope that you get the realization that time can be wasted very easily. And it's important to manage this important resource that you do have. So what I would like you to do is go ahead and complete this worksheet, just the first part of taking action, and see for yourself how much time do you actually have left during the week and then even during the year. Because if you multiply that figure and you exponentially grow it within a year, you come to the realization that you do have time. So in many, like when I'm coaching people, one of the main objections that I get from people is, I don't have time. And when I do this exercise, it brings into perspective that yes, they do have time. It's just how that time is managed and how you spend that time, that's the important thing. So go on and fill this just to get an idea of how much time you may have to work on your goals.